Hi, welcome. My name is Ali Paz from the Yoga Home, and I'm so excited to bring to you today some information on sciatica and the SI joint. So I'm sure you've heard the word before, maybe you don't really understand what it is, but sciatica is actually just a condition, and the SI joint, because some people say to me, well, my SI joint or my sciatica is out, which is not really an area. Sciatica is an actual condition that happens when the nerve that comes from the lower lumbar and down through the piriformis, whether it's through, over, or under, depending on where it is on you, everyone's different, and it comes all the way down through the leg. And when you're doing things like forward bend or twisting the wrong way or something that's straining it, and the piriformis is quite contracted and overactive, then it will press on that nerve. So I want to give you a couple of exercises that may help with that, and or some stretches that may help with that. So all you need is maybe a mat. You don't even need a mat, but a strap. Try to find a strap or a scarf or a tie or something that you can use to do these. Okay, let's get going. So I would say be warm for this. You want to be warmed up a little bit through the leg. So I'm going to just take you through just a very brief kind of movement that will help warm you up before you get into a little bit more deeper stretches, okay? So for now, let's just kind of warm up the spine. So you're in your hands and knees. Shoulders are above the wrists and knees are below the hips. We call this cat-cow. So you're just kind of moving through the spine, inhaling and exhaling as the navel center draws up. And you round the shoulders. Inhale, tailbone up, belly down. And exhale. So you're just kind of moving through the spine, warming things up. You can incorporate the leg if you want a little bit to warm up the hips. So the right leg will extend out and back as you inhale. Exhale, knee towards the chest and round the spine. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. A few times to warm up the hips. Other side, extend the left leg back. Inhale, look up. Exhale, knee towards the chest, rounding. Inhale to open up. Exhale to round. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, navel center up. One more. Inhale and exhale. Now, that might be feeling a little bit engaging. So let's stretch out the outer hip now from this position. If your knees are sore, you may pad the knees. There is some other ways to do this on your back with a strap as well, and I can show you that if you are not able to stand up on your knees like this. So let's extend the right leg back behind us and then cross over the left leg, placing the outer edge of the right foot or toes on the ground. Stay nice and tall with the spine, and then ever so slightly look over your left shoulder towards looking at your right toe. You can start to feel a little bit of stretch on the outer hip. And just continue pressing your hands in equally into the earth as you breathe into the side body. Nice calming breaths. And then exhale, let's come back out. Left leg extends back behind. And then up and over across the right leg. So you're pressing either your toes or the edge of the left foot in there. Equal weight on the palms, looking gently over the right shoulder, just enough so you can start to feel that length in the outer hip and stretch. Breathing into it. Good, and then coming all the way back. Okay, so let's find our downward facing dog as you press your hands and feet in the ground and just lift the hips up. Now, you may be kind of rounded in the spine and bent in the knees. What I want you to do is just bend your knees and allow the chest to soften as you lengthen the spine and lift the hips to the sky. Okay, don't worry so much about extending the legs. And if you are in full extension with the legs and the knees, then reach out through the chest and really feel the length in the side body and the hamstrings. Okay, so one more breath here. Now, another really good stretch for this outer hip is pigeon pose. So you can start to bring the right knee towards the right wrist. You may need a block for under the right hip if you're really high up, because the idea is to get the right foot up closer to the top of the mat by flexing the foot and then eventually starting to sink both hips down. Now, I think I'll try it without the block. The back leg does an internal rotation to get the left hip around, okay? So you want to stay relatively lifted up in the front body for this. Continue lengthening and softening through the hips. Now, if this is creating any kind of nerve pain for you where that sciatic, basically the nerve is, because there's too much compression on that outer piriformis on the right side, then I would come out of this and maybe do a more gentle version on your back body and thread the needle. And I'll show you that in a second here. Couple more breaths. Actually, why don't I just show you quickly now, because then you can just go into that instead. So what I mean by this is just bringing the right foot on the left leg, pulling the left leg towards you, or maybe having the left foot on the floor or block. Okay, so that'll get the outer right hip. Okay, so those that are still in pigeon pose, just hang out a little bit longer. If you want to go onto your back and try it that way, then there's options. Okay, breathing. One more breath. Good. Placing both hands down. Let's step that right foot back to downward facing dog and just shake out the legs. Maybe bending the left knee and right knee. Okay, left side. So left knee comes down to the ground, top of the left foot presses into the ground towards the left wrist. And then as you settle in, see, I have some knee stuff that I'm going through right now. So I'm just going to try, I think the block, sometimes when it's too much, like even a cushion is nice sometimes. But anyways, I'm going to work with this alignment point where the shin bone is parallel to the top edge of the mat. Only if this foot is flexed, okay? You don't want to crank your hips forward and then have it come into the knee joint. So externally rotate this thigh bone. Okay. Let the femur rest onto the block. And then you'll bring attention to the internal rotation in the back leg as you stretch out that back leg. So take your time with this. Now, the hips may not square off, and that's okay. Just as long as you're feeling a nice opening in the outer hip without feeling anything in the knee joint. Okay. And then just stay nice and lifted with the chest. Breathing into it. Once again, if this is sore for you, lay on your back body and do the thread the needle. Feeling all the sensations in the outer hip. Good, one more breath. Exhale, bring that foot back in, release the block if it's there, and then walk out in downward facing dog again. Okay, so now you'll need the strap, scarf, or something that connects. So maybe even tie up a scarf or a belt or a yoga strap. You may want it longer than just a regular strap. If you do have two straps, you can attach both of them, okay? So it all depends on how open your back legs are. So you'll want to use the wall, so find some space in the wall. I'm just gonna move that to the side. Now, unfortunately, you can't see the profile, but I'll show you from profile what I am doing. So basically, what I'm doing into the wall will look like this, and I'll show you into the wall in a second. Okay, you want to be rested in the back body. Both knees are bent, and I learned this amazing technique from Nikki Doan at Maya Yoga in Hawaii. This is great for extending both legs. So what you're doing basically, and it helps stretch out and open up space in the SI joint a little bit. So both knees are bent to start, and then you want to straighten. Now imagine the wall's there, and I'll do it in the wall in a second, but imagine the wall's right there into that foot. I want to push myself away from the wall. Okay, so both legs eventually start to straighten as I move away from the wall. And both heels are pressing in as this stays at 90 degrees. This leg does not have to be over here. Maybe it's here, but you'll work towards 90. And then this right hip starts to root down and into the earth. So you're getting that connection there. So I'll just do it right into the wall so you can see. Okay, so I'm gonna press both at the exact same time, press through the heels, engage the inner thighs and outer hip, and then start to really feel that full awareness of the rooting down through the hip. So you're not pulling up and over too much. Okay, down and over. Now, obviously you're gonna do both sides, so you would switch. Come closer to the wall, bend both knees. Now you want to stay in there longer. This is just a bit of a shorter video. So you definitely want to hang out there a little bit longer. And then start to press through both heels, straighten both knees, root down that left hip, and feel the strength in the leg. As you root down, you feel the space in the SI joint. Okay, so once you finish those, you can play around with the strap as well. Sometimes I like to do the crossover. It gets a little bit of a stretch through here and lengthens that SI joint a bit. Okay, so you can kind of play around with these as long as you're stabilized in the hip. You don't want to go all the way over. Sometimes twisting it depends on how severe your sciatica is or your SI joint. Okay, so continue pressing through the heel and flexing the foot. And just go enough so you can start to feel a stretch. It doesn't have to be all the way over. Pressing the heels. Okay, exhale, release that. And then I like to do this a little bit of an active release where I'm in thread the needle here. Okay, and you can even do this with the foot into the wall if you need, like this might be a big stretch for you, okay? If not, you can hold. And what I do is hold one hand behind, and then this hand, I'll press not on the knee joint, but just below it. I'll press that way towards the wall. And then with my knee and strength of my leg, I'll pull up. So the energy is moving up towards my hand and I'm pushing away the resistance. So now this is if you have really tight and you want to actively release the adductors, okay, the inner thigh muscles, which sometimes helps the relationship on the other side. So this all depends where it's weak and where it's tight for you. Just try it out and see how it feels after. So I'm just gonna press into my hand and push away. I would do it for about 5 counts, relax, go to maybe a new range of motion, press. So about 3 rounds of that, okay? And then switching sides. Now I'm just going through this quickly. You can pause the video and do the whole routine if you want. Okay, so pressing in, relax, press and hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so you do about 3 of those. Okay. Oh, you can also hang out and thread the needle and just stretch and hold as well. So shake it out, come into a mini shavasana and just let everything settle. So what you want to visualize is softening the lower lumbar where that nerve is attached and goes all the way through the piriformis and down the legs. So you just want to relax both SI joint, which is the sacroiliac joint in between. This is the sacrum, a triangular bone fused together with 2 hip bones on either side. And the SI joint is in between on the outer edge of the sacrum, okay? So that's where the SI joint is. So what I want you to visualize and relax right now is that area in the back body. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out. Now, if it hurts the lower back here, just bend the knees, draw the knees towards each other, and soften the sacrum. Now, this is even more of a release for the SI joint because you're not compressing it, it's settling it. Then you can hang out there for, however long you would like to. Maybe 3 or 4 minutes is nice to really just settle in. But that is all for the SI joint. There's tons more, but just to give you a little starting point, let me know how it goes in the comment section. And if you want more information and more notifications of videos that come out weekly, please subscribe and hit that little Yoga Home button on the right-hand corner. And I will see you again. Namaste.